Hey everybody, today's January 19th, 2020. In this video, we're going to unravel the numeric riddle behind new propaganda released this past week. Famous rapper Eminem dropped a surprise album called Music to be Murdered By. And once again, he's generating controversy. This time because the music video for the song Darkness, which was released one day before the album dropped, features a chilling perspective on the Las Vegas shooting as it follows shooter Stephen Paddock through his night in which he breaks the window and rains bullets down on the Route 91 Harvest Festival. Towards the end of this video, the video asks, when will this end? And it encourages people to vote for, essentially for gun control. The message in this video is very clear, especially since not only does it show the shooting itself, but if you read between the lines, it actually has the documents. You know, here, for instance, this is a shot where it shows that this man has a license for a gun. So the message is clear. They want people to vote for politicians who will remove our gun rights. Now, as always, the New World Order, as we often call it, does these things by the numbers, releasing its propaganda by a code of letters and numbers called Gematria. This code combined with dates on the calendar, and they are used in an attempt to control your mind. So let's get into this. Again, this shooting, which the video details in depth, was at the Route 91 Harvest Festival back in October of 2017. The name of this song is Darkness. Using the standard alphabetic order, where each letter is assigned a number relative to its position in the alphabet 1 through 26. The word darkness has a numeric value of 91. Eminem was born on the date October 17th, 1972. Measuring from that date to the release of this music video on January 16th is 91 days. There's an interesting detail about this album in that no one really expected it to be dropped. So this is a surprise album. Using the reverse alphabetic order, where Z gets assigned 1 all the way through A as 26, the word surprise sums to 91. Interestingly enough, Eminem gets the name of his new album, Music to be Murdered By, from a Jeff Alexander album with the same name. You'll see here, this is with Alfred Hitchcock on the cover, Music to be Murdered By, the same thing. Well, the composer Jeff Alexander, who released that album, was born on July 2nd. And notice how the date July 2nd falls 91 days before the Las Vegas shooting. Now, this album, Music to be Murdered By, was released in the year 58, as detailed on the Wikipedia page. And this immediately stands out because Eminem's album was released on January 17th, which is a date with primary numerology of 58. And in the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, Stephen Paddock, the gunman, killed 58 people. The final death toll is marked at 59, which is including himself, as he allegedly turned the gun on himself after the shooting was over. And of course, 58, a number we talk about a lot, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, and no doubt, a lot more behind the Las Vegas shooting than meets the eye. Using the alphabetic order, Las Vegas, Nevada sums to 133. This stands out because a lot of people know Eminem as Slim Shady. This is a name that he used on some of his records. Slim Shady equals 133 in the reverse alphabetic order. Notice how in ordinal, Slim Shady equals 110. That stands out because the date of the Las Vegas shooting was the 1st of October, a date that can be written 1/10. Measuring from the date of that shooting to January 16th, when Eminem's video about the shooting came out, notice it was 107 days after the anniversary of the shooting. Using the alphabetic order, the word shooting sums to 107. Also interesting that when you stylize the name Eminem, because one of these E's is backwards, you end up getting Gematria matching Vegas in 3 of the 4 base ciphers. In the alphabetic order, Las Vegas shooting has a value of 193. The shooting took place from a casino. In Latin, or Jewish Gematria, the other cipher I talk about in my videos, certainly the most important one outside of the base methods, casino sums to 193 as well. The number 193 is a prime number, and this is another very significant thing to understand in numerology. Numbers are always related to their prime relation. Notice how the name Stephen Paddock sums to 44 in this same cipher. Of course, numerology, the zeros are ignored. The name Hitchcock sums to 44. Eminem's album, paying tribute to Alfred Hitchcock. Notice how the word shooting equals 44. Just like the word gunfire, 44. But we're going to talk about how this is all part of the kill code. Notice how the word kill sums to 44 in the alphabetic order. On the date of the Las Vegas shooting, Eminem, who was born on October 17th of the year 1972, interestingly enough, he was 44 years old on the date of that shooting. Notice how his full name, Marshall Bruce Mathers III, sums to 109 in reduction, which is the reverse value of shooting. But this name has really interesting ordinal gematria as well. We're going to take a look at the kill code again, and notice how the word kill has this Hebrew gematria value of both 19 in reduction and then 244 in standard Hebrew gematria. Of course, Hebrew and Greek, the 2 languages which gematria is believed to have originated, especially Hebrew. So the word kill giving us 19 and 244. Marshall Bruce Mathers III giving us 244 and 109. His album is modeled after a Jeff Alexander album, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And notice how Jeff Alexander was born on July 2nd of 1910. Oops. Well, if you measure from that date to the date that this Eminem album was released, you get 109 years and 199 days. Alfred Joseph Hitchcock sums to 109 and 199 in gematria. Looking once again at the gematria of the word kill, we saw the 44 in ordinal earlier, but we're also going to look at the 17 in reduction, or Pythagorean gematria. This stands out because in Jewish gematria, kill equals 59, which is the 17th prime number. Eminem released his album on the 17th day of the year. And notice how Eminem in gematria also equals 59 ordinal, 59 the 17th prime. Well, using prime numbers, Eminem equals 170. And again, his album being released on the 17th day of the year. The 2017 Las Vegas shooting was the largest terror attack resulting in the most deaths on U.S. soil since 9/11. And it was at a country music festival. The word country equals 116, which is, of course, a lot like the number 9/11. Eminem released this video on the date January 16th, written 116. Notice how Eminem equals 119 in Jewish gematria. Well, from the date of the Las Vegas shooting to the date that he released this music video was 119 weeks. The album was called Music to be Murdered By. And notice how this album, with the artist included, sums to 119 in reduction. Now, this 119 sequence is significant to the numerology of Eminem. Remember how I mentioned how he was born on October 17th. This date can also be written 17/10. This week's album was then released on the 17th of January. Both of these numbers can be written 17/1. Well, the 171st prime number is 1019, another number with that 119 sequence. And what's so interesting about this is that Eminem's album, which again was released on January 17th, came out the same day as the posthumous album release of Mac Miller's Circles, also released on January 17th. And in my videos, in my work, you know that this code of gematria is built around the mathematics of the circle. Check the description of this video down below for how this code is built around the math of the circle. And January 17th is a perfect date for an album named Circles to be released. Looking back at Hebrew gematria, notice how the word for circle has a reduction value of 17. This is intriguingly coded into our calendar. The date written 1/7 is January 7th. This gives us a gematria value of 2,270. And if you divide 22 by 7, that's the smallest equation you can use to get the first three digits of pi, or 3.14. This is evident in gematria as well. 22 divided by 7 equals 314. Furthermore, the 17th day of the year is January 17th. Using the alphabetic order in English, January 17th equals 227. And remember, Mac Miller had an album called The Divine Feminine. Notice how Divine Feminine gives us this 911. If you put Mac Miller Divine Feminine, you get 1109, tying back into the 119 code we saw with Eminem. So pretty interesting that both of these rappers releasing albums on the same date. Furthermore, the name Mathers sums to 314. Again, like the first three digits of pi. In English gematria, Hitchcock equals 314. Mathers, Hitchcock. Again, this album being released on January 17th, which has that 227 built into it. So I think this riddle is clear long before I got to the end here, but I just wanted to unravel the depth of this coding behind this ridiculous propaganda. Remember, this Vegas shooting, this was a man who had no motive, and then they mocked us after the fact. The one image that was being shown to the media was this image of Stephen Paddock with his eyes closed. This, of course, being a metaphor for him just blindingly shooting bullets into a crowd. Remember the interesting detail, too, of this guy having the number 13 tattooed on his neck, which is just ridiculous. The number 13 in Gematria summing to 99. Stephen Paddock's birthday, April 9th. That would be the 99th day of the year. Check out my post linked below on the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, which completely dissects this entire ritual. Remember the Las Vegas in reverse, summing to 130. The shooting took place from the Mandalay Bay, which equals 99. Like how Paddock was born on the 99th day of the year. I don't want to turn this into a whole other video, but again, just wanted to decode this propaganda. Another rapper being used. A couple other interesting things I did want to look at, though. We talked about how Eminem sums to 59 in the alphabetic order. And when I glanced at his Wikipedia page today, I couldn't help but notice that he's also part of another group called Bad Meets Evil. And look who he's collaborating with. He's collaborating with a rapper named Royce da 5'9". And there you have Eminem summing to 59. I'm going to check out this guy's Gematria too, just poke around at this. So look at this. His name is Ryan Montgomery. And look at how Ryan Montgomery equals 1313 in Jewish Gematria. Does that remind you of Eminem, Marshall Mathers, MM, 1313? So, without digging too deep, this is just another perfect example of how all these guys doing it by the code. I'm actually interested in how many days separate their birthdays. Royce da 5'9", born on July 5th of 1977. And look at this. Look how many days are between their birthdays. 1,722. That 722 code that we just talked about. All right, I think that just about does it here. You know what? I want to dig a little bit deeper. Okay, Alfred Hitchcock was born on the 13th of August, a date written 13/8. We talked about how this all ties into the Divine Feminine coding from Mac Miller's album. Divine Feminine equals 138. That Divine Feminine album, by the way, this was released on September 16th of 2016. giving us exactly 174 weeks between release. Mac Miller summing to 41. His posthumous album coming out 40 months, 1 day after The Divine Feminine. Also notice how Mac Miller equals 58 in reverse reduction, and his album being dropped on a date with 58 numerology. So I know there's a little bit more to it, but just wanted to touch on that before I shut the stream down. Thanks to everybody who jumped in on the live chat. I think this is a pretty interesting one and a perfect example of how we shouldn't be relinquishing our rights to this cabal that's trying to pull away our guns. It's pretty gross stuff. All right, guys, that'll do it. Thanks again for dropping in. Peace, love, God bless, and we will talk to you next time. See ya!